Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video here on Marvel's Strike Force. Second day for our second video for Monday here today, and I guess you could say a slight correction that apparently, I was actually wrong for once. I will admit that. We're here to talk about some of the news that you might have seen over the last couple of hours, but more recently, the public blog has been made public about the Orchis raids that are upcoming pretty soon actually. And of course, we have the events that went live here today on Monday. One of them, which also includes the Pool Party Chapter 4, which is the dry off. You can go do the campaign missions there. Make sure you're doing the stuff that you need to do to get the points, which is battling with the Pool Pal trait characters as well. You can do this. I believe you can just do this in Blitz, honestly. So it should be pretty easy to accomplish. And then the rest of it is just spending the energy for that. Doesn't matter what chapter you're farming for that. I normally do the chapter 1 story mode that has the gold orb fragments. That's just how I use my energy anyways. And then also at the bottom, there's going to be some more red gear and 2 gamma radiation. I have a lot of this stuff. And this frame, which actually is pretty cool. Although I did like the other one, I think the weird popsicle looking one. I don't think I actually managed to get that. There's also the one at the end of the 800k for the month of August. And of course, the hot pool costume, which okay, I'm not going to say anything about the movie. I guess some people might not have seen it, but I don't think that's the name of the actual character in the movie. I'm just going to say that. But I thought it was a different name. I just don't want to say it in case some people get weird about it. But anyways, all that and more in today's video. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. And also just another really quick update about the store. So there is, if you're someone that's building Ares, I did not buy the RTA pass. I actually thought I was going to. I decided not to, so I don't have Ares unlocked yet at this point. But if you do and you are building him, let me know how he is. I guess I've been hearing a lot of mixed things. However, he will get better after now, I suppose, because this offer for his awakened ability will be available for, I don't know what the US dollar is, but it's 50 Canadian. This might be 35 US. I'm not entirely sure what the conversion is right now. And it is available for 1 month and 10 days. So quite a while. So if you are wanting to get this early, you don't have to decide now or this week. You can decide when you want. And that'll still be available by the time you unlock him free to play on the third pass. Anyways, so that'll be there. But you will get him, you will get that awakened ability for free. I believe it's before the end of all of this, right? So within the next 2 months, I think, is the expectation for the free to play version. It's just that is kind of what makes or break Ares right now, I think, because it's the APOC, basically the APOC passive. So that's going to make a pretty big difference when it comes to Crucible or War, more so, in my opinion. But let's get on to the blog that was released, the raid on Orchis. You may have seen this from some of your other Envoy content creators who had early access to this blog. I'm going to be covering it myself and giving some of my thoughts on it. And they made it very clear about the not requiring purple ISO. So I'm going to say that up front. Now, I did have information that suggested that that was going to happen. Now, whether or not things that got changed behind the scenes, that could have been, because when you take a look at some of the stuff that's actually contained within the maps, like the laning, spoiler, you'll see that actually Tech and Mystic are both within the 21 to 60% range. And so I suspect that when people heard that perhaps there may have been some containing of purple ISO, who the hell wants to, potentially put that stuff on Bifrost and Pegasus until these new teams come out? Nobody. So I have a feeling that they backpedaled a little bit on that. But anyways, we're going to move on from this. And that's a good thing. However, I will say that based on my video from before, I don't think a lot of my DD8 changes, my choices have changed. Honestly, because based on what characters we have right now, I already slotted in a lot of the characters from Orchis, from that team, into DD8. And I think that that still makes a lot of sense. There is a little bit more flexibility now, though, now that you don't need this. But I honestly, I really think that, like, if it's not Orchis 1, it's going to be Orchis 2 that's going to contain purple ISO. So realistically, I still think, and I'm always in favor of upgrading your raid teams because you're going to need to do that. They're making things harder than ever before, and I think that this one's going to be no different, especially since there's going to be 2 maps. But let's just take a look. Anyways, so I'm going to skip a lot of this I've already talked about on my channel, right? So I don't need to regurgitate some of this stuff, but they basically publicly acknowledged that the upcoming tech team is going to be called Orchis, right? And then the upcoming Mystic team is going to be called Night Stalkers, things that I've already mentioned on my channel. We'll have more information on a future blog on Orchis and the other new team you'll see below. And I'm just going to really quickly, before we go any further, some of the things that I thought was going to be the reworks. We'll see if this ends up happening. These are my top 2 picks. I mentioned this in my original video like a week or so ago. Is going to be Scientist Supreme and Lady Deathstrike. I made comments about why I thought it was those 2 in that video. Go back and check that if you want. And then Elsa Bloodstone, right, for Night Stalker. So these are my top picks for reworks for these 2 teams. Obviously, it's not official yet, and even I don't have it 100% official. However, that is my gut feeling. Don't go around building them yet. I haven't done that myself. This is where I had them from previous investment. So just my thoughts there. And it makes sense, I think. But anyways, 2 unique maps. We talked about this. I leaked this already early. We knew this was going to happen. They have a normal mode and an Omega raid difficulty. And the map, though, appears to be the same. However, the Omega map is going to contain 20 more nodes. So I don't know which one this is. And I'm going to open this up in a separate tab here. It says the enemy difficulty, the power and the gear, etc. is the same. They're just adding 20 more nodes. Like where they're adding that in, I'm not entirely sure. If it's just going to have 1 less node per section, that's possible, or 1 or 2 less. I don't, or is this the... This one says tech actually over there. I'm going to have to look at the map in more detail. But anyways, if your Reliance wants the bigger challenge, so it's a pretty big difference, right? 51 nodes is not a lot. I think that's more like Spotlight Raid. Whereas 71 nodes is Incursion 2. That's what we have right now. I'm pretty sure it's 71 nodes. So if you're used to running Incursion 2 like that, then I guess Omega Raid, the Omega difficulty or map, is not going to be that much different in terms of the total quantity of nodes. But I do want to bring this up because there's 2 starting positions, I think. There's one down here. Let's go into full screen mode, sorry. So there's one down here in the bottom left. And there is no position, but I think it's over here on the right-hand side because I was told that Tech and Mystic make up the 2nd and 3rd section. And that's what I'm seeing here. So let's zoom in a little bit here. So the first on the left-hand side here is Mutant, which is fine. And then you go immediately into Mystic and Tech at the 21% and the 41% mark. So to get through the first 3 sections would be Mutant, Mystic, Tech. And then on the right-hand side, Skill, Tech, Mystic. I think you're just going backwards. I think it's in a reverse order or something like that. And then you have Bio, Mutant, and then Skill, Bio. Now, the one weird thing is that this node here is Tech. I don't know if that's a typo, because that seems really weird that they would just throw in a random Tech node within the Skill section. And I don't think I saw it over here. So I think that's a typo. But this is Scopely, so you never know, right? It's not over here, and it's over here. So that seems weird. And then you can use whatever in the middle. And this looks like it's just 1 node, but really if you count this all up, I mean, this 5, 10, 15, 20. So this is, no, this is the 51 node section, actually. 5, 10, there's 5 per section. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26, and then plus 25, right? So this is the normal mode map then. I don't know what the Omega Raid map is going to look like. I don't know if they actually... Oh, no, they do have it. Okay, so let's open up that one. So this is the... How is this different then? So we do have over here the Mutant section, the Skill section. Oh, it's a 3rd additional lane. Oops, I didn't even notice. So there's 2 sections or 2 lanes, and then this has 3 lanes. Okay, that makes sense. Same thing, though. We have Mutant, Mystic, Tech, Skill, Bio, and in this case there is no random weird Tech node, so I'm assuming that that was a typo of some sort. And then Skill, Tech, Mystic, Bio, Mutant. So the first sections would be Extreme X-Men on this side, and then Spider Society on this side. And then, honestly, I think what I'm going to do with my alliance and what my plan is for this, I'm assuming this is going to be really hard, guys. Because, there's stat mods. We talked about the stat mods that are going to be for that team, right? And so I think that because Pegasus and Bifrost are not stat modded, they are not going to be getting that increased stats. So I think it's going to be quite challenging because obviously they're trying to push you to get these new teams or to buy them early, right? The Orchis team and then eventually the Night Stalkers team. So I think some of the plans when this goes live, I think for my alliance, is going to be funneling down the middle on 1 lane for 4 people each on Mystic and Tech. Honestly, because if between 4 people you can clear 3 nodes, I think that's good. And then you could eventually get through the extra parts, the extra 40% over here and the 20% at the front. that 60% plus, whatever from these small nodes from Tech and Mystic, that might be like, I don't know what it is, like maybe close to 70%. And I think that would give you the next step in the difficulties to climb, at least in the early stages until the actual teams come out like Orcus. So that's my plans and what I've kind of suggested to my alliance as well. I think for those who don't want to smash their head against Bifrost and Pegasus nodes, Bifrost is already falling off in Incursion 2, and they're making us use it again pretty early on rather than sticking at the back. So this is a good plan on Scopely, I think, to screw the player bases into frustration to want you to buy those new teams, right? And so I'm not that surprised that that's what they're doing. So that's the map there. Let me know in the comments down below. As far as the purple ISO stuff goes, yeah, I'll admit, sometimes I don't get everything right. I've gotten a lot of things right. I think that something did happen behind the scenes, though, because there was something that I heard that was related to that. That's all I'm going to say. But I never did say 100% this is happening, and I hope that nobody actually went into investing stuff early. I just made suggestion that you should think about this, and I still think that it very well could happen for something like Orcus 2, but hopefully we'll be in a better position purple ISO wise that it's not going to be that big of a deal or as much of a deal. Anyways, it does seem though that you will need blue 5, which is honestly more than fine at this point. Like your teams probably have blue 5 at this point, especially blue 4 for like all of your newer characters. I think that the crunch is not really there much, especially for veterans or anyone doing like the top end raids. I think that the crunch isn't really there anymore. I think it's very easy to get this stuff. Hell, I think you can farm blue 5 in the pool party or was it is one of the campaigns you could actually, the event campaigns that you could actually farm blue 5 right now. I think it was pool party. So there you go. And then the combat modifiers, we already talked about this, but it starts at 64% base stats with a 30% barrier, and then it scales down from there. It gets less and less as you go higher up. So my original thoughts about Cyclops and Venom and things like that, I think that still could be there. If you haven't built Cyclops or Venom, I would probably not, unless it seems that you cannot get through without it. I would just try to keep going with what you have right now with Old Man Logan and Super Skrull and see how that goes. The 64% base stats is quite significant though. So I don't know if that's going to make a big enough deal to use, your if you have a G1895 Cyclops and you let rip on the ultimate, that might do enough damage now where it's significant. And that barrier also might be quite helpful. Now, I don't know if that means like your max barrier. I'm not sure what this means, or if it's on spawn. You get 30% on spawn barrier. That part's not super clear here. Is it increasing your barrier max by 30%? Are you just getting 30% on spawn barrier? I'm not sure really what that means. Actually, I don't know why I said that, because it just says it right there. Well, hey, okay, I already answered that. At least it didn't take me that long. So that might help. We'll see. Some of the teams already have barrier, including Extreme X-Men, I'm pretty sure, with Cyclops, though, or I don't remember who applies the barrier. I guess Cyclops. And then you can see the combat modifier teams here, right? So no Bifrost, no Pegasus. And they're going to want you to struggle on that, right? Like, it's going to be tough. So as far as the rewards go, it's exactly what I said before. So it's just more red gear. That's it. It's more red gear probably than what's in Incursion 2.3, hopefully, that we can just transition into D0, I guess, of Orchis raids, whether or not that's normal mode or Omega mode or Omega raid. I guess that's going to depend on the difficulty, right? And then like how it feels for us, right? I guess I'm going to start probably at Omega difficulty and then go from there, which is going to have first time rewards from 50% on. But it seems that the normal map will not have first time rewards, so I guess we'll see about that. As far as my alt alliance goes, I'm not sure like where we're gonna be. Obviously my main alliance is gonna try to do things at the Omega difficulty, but it could be pretty tough, and I'm expecting it to be really hard for the Tech and Mystic sections. So have a full rundown of the new Orcus teams in an upcoming blog. But hey, if it's what I thought, then we're not going to be surprised, are we? So again, don't build into my, don't build right now. What I suggested is going to be the reworks, or what I think might be the reworks. But keep an eye on these, and we'll keep an eye on this space together. So that's the end of the video, everyone. I hope that you have a great rest of your Monday and Diamond Claws and the other events that are starting up today. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below now that we have the official raid map of the Orcus raids. Not surprised. The Tech and Mystic section's a bit of a slap in the face, because I know people really wanted to move on from having to use them, but now they're forcing us to use them even more. I am not taking them to 100, and I am not taking them to G19 beyond what I've already done with Kestrel and Vol. The rest of them can F off. So that's just me for now, and until next time, stay safe and healthy. I'll see y'all later. Boilon signing out.